Whether you have two rabbits that just can't get along, or you want to get a partner for your bunny, this video is everything you need to do to improve your rabbit's love life and get a happy, cuddly couple. Hello, this is Pepper and this is Wally. My name is Leanna. I'm a clicker trainer and rabbit behaviorist, and we are the Bunnies Brigade. Our mission is to get people rethinking rabbit care by proving how intelligent these guys really are. So let's improve your rabbit's love life by tackling that big question about how to bond your rabbits, because it's not as simple as just putting two rabbits face to face and then they magically become BFFs. No, it's a lot more delicate than that, and there's a technique to introducing them to each other. Now, I want to be as concise as I possibly can for you, and there is a lot to get through, so there will be timestamps in the description box below that you can skip ahead to any point in this video. Now, as I'm sure you've seen in all of our videos, Pepper and Wally live very happily together. And just like all rabbit bonds, the relationship, in my opinion, just doesn't compare to any other pet. Bonded bunnies like Pepper and Wally will seldom be without each other. They're always sleeping together, cuddling and grooming. It wasn't always sunshine and rainbows though, and it very rarely is when you first introduce your rabbits. So I'm going to be going through the steps on how to bond two bunnies. We're going to be talking about how to choose your second rabbit, setups for two unbonded bunnies, your rabbit's point of view, bunny dating, and if you stick around to the end, I'll be giving some bonus tips as well. But before you can even think about the rest of this video, you must make sure that both your rabbits are spayed and or neutered, and you should wait out a 4 to 6 week period for their hormones to settle down and adjust before you introduce them. If you don't, you will definitely have your rabbit starting out on the wrong foot, and it can just make everything a lot harder for you, your rabbits, everyone involved. So first off, how to choose a second rabbit. It's likely that you're watching this video because you already have a rabbit and you're thinking of adopting a new addition to your family. Well, it's not a good idea to just pick any rabbit or pick a rabbit because you like the color of their fur or something like that. What you should do is you should consider their personality and their temperament and how that might complement your current rabbit's temperament. Think of it like human dating. We want to date people that we're compatible with. For example, Wally's very laid back, yet he likes to be the boss and get pampered and groomed a lot. Therefore, I know that Wally's best match would really be a shy bunny who is happy for him to take the lead and groom him all day long. A lot like our last bunny, Jasmine, who sadly passed away 3 years ago in her old age. Alternatively, a more active bunny like Pepper could potentially be a good match because they're more willing to be awake and alert so Wally doesn't have to. But if I'm being completely honest, the latter ended up meaning that Pepper was more feisty and therefore just as stubborn as Wally, but more on that a bit later. You can't know for certain if you do have a good pairing, especially if the rabbits don't have the opportunity to meet in a neutral space before adopting. That's why most rabbit rescues will do speed dating. Yes, rabbit speed dating. And this one has been speed dating before, haven't you, Wally? He actually really enjoyed speed dating, but dating just gives the bunny the chance to choose their own partner in crime, if you will. And the rescue will help you through the whole dating process, and they have good knowledge of which rabbits will complement your rabbit's personality. And if you happen to have no rabbits right now and you're looking to adopt two straight out the gate, which I really recommend, by the way. Many of these rescues will have bonded pairs that they're trying to rehome together and they can't be separated. Once rabbits form a bond, it's not one you should break. So, how to set up two unbonded bunnies? It's best to work out your setup in advance of adopting your second rabbit and get comfy with it, because it could be like this for some weeks and in some cases, months. Especially for you, I have taken the time to set up our rabbit space pretty much how it was 3 years ago whilst we were bonding Pepper and Wally. Now originally I had one pen this side and then another opposite
here. But what I mean by get comfy is it actually ended up being a little bit restricting for our own human access to our kitchen over there. And as I realized it was going to take longer than I expected, I needed to reconfigure things. So I did so, and I put them side by side like this. And I much preferred it like this. Pepper's wondering what on earth's going on. It was really lovely being like this because I would find them laying next to each other at times in their respective pens. But if you do put your pens side by side, you want to make sure you have a gap between them. This is about a 3-4 inch gap here. This is just to avoid any lunging through the bars, any nipping, anything like that. Now these are great pens. This is the Carlson Convertible Pet Yard, and I got 2 of them. And what's great is they can connect together and make a super large pen, or you can take them apart and make smaller pens, super multi-purpose, and I'll link them in the description below. As you can see, I've put some dummy litter boxes in here. Obviously you would have the litter and the hay in here, or some water, but just for your visuals, I've quickly just done it like this. Now, what you want to do every day is you want to switch out the litter boxes. Swap them round, because that gets them used to each other's scent. Don't clean them out, just swap them. Alternatively, you can literally switch the rabbits themselves between pens if you'd prefer. This is my recommended setup for you for success. Having the pens side by side like this, so they're able to be super close but not able to reach each other. And then of course you'll be letting them each have their own free roam time throughout the day, every day.
Now, because this is the Bunnies Brigade, we have to talk about the rabbit perspective, because that's the best way to get the result you want from them. So, what is your bunny's point of view when it comes to bonding? As humans, when we meet someone new, we take time to get to know them, to figure out what kind of person they are, their likes and dislikes, their sense of humour, whether they're an introvert or an extrovert. Well, with rabbits, it's not dissimilar, maybe perhaps a little more primitive, but they too have to find out where each other stands. And for them, it's really just a contest to find out who's the more assertive, who is the boss, the more dominant rabbit. They're the one that gets groomed the most. They get to sleep the most, whereas the subordinate is responsible for being on the lookout for danger. So they don't get to sleep so much or quite so deeply, and they also have to carry out their grooming duties. They do get groomed by the boss, but nowhere near as much as they have to groom back. And all this can happen when, and only when, they have established who is the more dominant. So a quick and easy bond is when you have one rabbit who shows no interest in being dominant. A difficult bond is when you have 2 rabbits who both believe they have a right to be chief, but neither is willing to submit. This is the trouble we had with Pepper and Wally, and even now they have this very unusual, equal relationship where neither is evidently more dominant, but that's how they like it. They both sleep like the dead. They both stubbornly wait for the other to groom them, but they don't ever get upset with each other about it, so there we are. Like I said, this is very unusual, and it's not likely you'll have the same experience. In most cases, for a male-female pairing, you should expect the female to be more dominant, but not always. Just quickly, if you are finding value in this video so far, please hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe and ring that bell to be notified of future videos. Let's talk about the most important part of the bonding process, and the part that's going to really get things moving along: the bunny dates. Bunny dates are sessions where your rabbits are in a confined, unfamiliar space under your very close supervision. We've used the kitchen, the bathroom, and some suggest the bath itself. We have tried the bath before, making sure there is a towel down for traction, but it wouldn't be my first recommendation, especially if you've never done this before, because they can try to jump out and there is a risk of injury on that slippery surface. Basically, try to think of a part of your house that neither rabbit is at all familiar with. Maybe an X-pen in your garage could work, or if you have a garden or balcony, then you could put a pen there. Make sessions short to start, about 10 minutes is good, once or twice a day. Place a handful of hay in the dating space. This will make the environment feel more comfortable and give them something to interact with. You can put a whole hay-filled litter box down, but in my experience, this can sometimes encourage possessive behavior, especially if you have a rabbit that has a bit of a litter box obsession. Wally is like this, so we did start them off without a box and added one as their relationship progressed. And before you start a session, you must be equipped because you will be intervening to prevent fights. Gardening gloves are perfect for this, and I like to have a spray bottle on hand because a jet of water will immediately stop them both in their tracks without me needing to grab either of them. Sit on the floor with them and observe them the whole time. This is something that needs your undivided attention. Never get up and leave them to it, especially when you're just starting these dates. You can sit them side by side and gently pet them if you like. This can make them think that they're being groomed by the other. It's just some positive, friendly communication. And it's also a great tool if they are feeling a bit riled up and they need to relax because they're looking for a bit of a fight. Other positive signs are grooming themselves. Whilst to us this can seem like they're ignoring each other, it's actually a friendly method of communication for them. Like they're saying, I'd like to be friends. And if the other grooms themselves in response, then excellent. Also, lying down, relaxed body language is very, very good. Following and gentle circling is fine. Just be on the ready because it can quickly turn into a fight if the one being followed gets defensive in any way. And although unsettling to watch, you should allow mounting. If they allow the other to mount, this is excellent progress. This means that the dominant bunny has established their place and they have the very beginnings of a good bond. A few words of caution about mounting though. Do not allow them to mount the face, the head, basically the wrong way round, because this can result in some nasty injuries to more sensitive areas. Also, don't allow the mounter to get too carried away. They could get too rough, or they just could carry on so long that the mountee gets uncomfortable and annoyed. Now, I can't stress this enough. Put an immediate stop to any fighting. Do not allow them to fight. You may need to just end the date right there if it's really bad, but the longer they're allowed to fight, the more lasting the damage can be on the relationship, and not to mention the chance of severe injury. Although I said following is okay, chasing is not. The difference being in the speed and intensity. And in the same way, if you're not careful, circling can turn into what we call a tornado. Now, a tornado, don't worry, it can't be missed. You will know when you see it because it literally looks like this. Try your best to end dates on a positive note. However, if they are at that point where all they want to do is fight and they absolutely refuse to calm down, then it is best to just end it rather than force anything. You can always try again tomorrow. Like I said, the more fights they have and the longer those fights persist for, the more damaging it can be for the bond. And the longer you're going to have to keep up with this whole process. For simplicity's sake, if you've ever played The Sims, think of it like trying to get two Sims to fall in love. Any negative interaction puts a minus point on their relationship, but any friendly, positive interaction adds points to their relationship meter. And so then you're one step closer to them falling in love. So, to review, positive bonding signs that you should allow and you should look to end your dates on are grooming themselves, grooming each other, lying down, gentle following or circling, and mounting from behind but for short periods. Do not allow any type of fighting and look for any starts of fighting like lunging or nipping, chasing, mounting the face, or tornadoes. As their dates become more and more positive, you can increase the duration of the sessions. 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, even an hour if you have time to sit and watch them. You should also eventually introduce food so they can eat together, like a dinner date. And definitely make sure they have water if the dates are going quite long. When you start to see them consistently relaxing close to each other and grooming each other without either one of them getting irritated, you can then allow them to free roam together, still under your supervision of course. And if that all goes well, then congratulations, you have 2 successfully bonded rabbits. That said, here's my bonus tips. Be aware that newly bonded bunnies can go backwards, so just keep an eye out for any chasing, lunging, or nipping. Pepper and Wally, in fact, had a little tornado a month or 2 after they'd established their bond. Like I said, they were both very stubborn. Just don't worry or panic if this happens. Just calmly separate them and then go back to doing a date or 2 the next day. Remember, it's okay to go back a few steps if you have to. Don't feel defeated. It doesn't mean they can't or won't live together happily. They just need more time to get to know each other and iron out their differences. Another tip is if you're finding your dates are just never calm, there never seems to be any moment where they're communicating with any niceties, then you can try a car ride. Have someone else drive while you sit in the back of the car with them, with your gardening gloves and your spray bottle if you want. Put them both in a very large box. You may need to hold one of them and wait until the car starts moving before you put them both in the box together. The idea is that being in a moving car is scary for both of them, so they'll look to each other for comfort and start to form a bond because they've come together in the face of adversity, kind of like a Disney cartoon. This is not a shortcut, and it doesn't mean you should skip out on all the bunny dates. I would only do it if I was really having problems with the normal dating method, because you can still have fights in the car and it's not always easy to break up those fights within a box in the back seat. And it's not particularly safe for you either. So please see this as a last resort method and never treat being in a moving vehicle lightly. Listen, the bonding process can be worrying and stressful for both you and your rabbits. So if you really feel like nothing is working, just hit me up in the comments and I will try and help out as best I can. But I do want to say again that Wally and Pepper had a really tough time. Wally bonded so fast with our last rabbit, Jasmine, that I had such high expectations for his bond with Pepper. And I even got to a point where I just thought it was never going to happen. But we kept patient, we took our time, we persisted, and we never forced anything. And look at them now. So best of luck with helping your rabbit find the love of their life, and we'll see you in the next one.